Hello, Exiles. Thanks to all y'all for joining me. New and old, good and bad, guilty and innocent. Today I talk about attributes, the very fundamentals in Path of Exile. People are not new to this. Attributes is a thing in all games that came before, especially the games from Blizzard like Diablo and also Warcraft, from which I learned about this. And also from which the other two inherits the same thing. We have three main attributes: strength, agility, and intelligence. Only that instead of agility, it is dexterity in PoE. There are no rules about how you should build your character, how you should distribute your attributes. The sole purpose of the clip is to give you the insight you might not have. From there, you can decide what's best for your character in your own way. And most of the time, you will learn from your mistakes. There is a philosophy behind attributes that we sometimes ignore. Let's begin with strength. As we well know in PoE, for every 10 strength, we achieve 5 life and 2% increased melee damage. There is nothing special about the life, but if you look at the damage gain, you see it's not a flat number. In Warcraft, strength will grant you flat life, and if you are a strength hero, you also get a 10 flat damage. Same case for agility and intelligence, as they all give you flat benefits. But in PoE, it's a different case, since from strength, the damage is gained as an increasement instead of a flat number. The flat damage source will come mainly from your items, mostly your weapon, and will be multiplied mostly through your passive skill tree. Hypothetically, let's assume that a character is a melee and also deals physical damage. I am just trying to avoid confusion because passive skill tree will offer you different types of node, such as the three follows: increase physical damage, increase melee physical damage, and increase attack physical damage. In this case, we are a melee physical damage dealer and we possess many skills such as Cyclone, Lip Slam that have the attack tag among the GM tags. So those three kinds of node are the same. Therefore, the formula has become less complex. We can ignore the flat physical damage because when it comes to that, you would like to add all the flat damage you can on your items. No multiple choice here. Only one job to do: get as much flat damage as you can on your weapon. We only have to mind the other half of the formula now, in which you really have to make decisions. Alright, let's jump right into it. By damage increasement, it's the total of strength increasement and other increasements. And by other increasements here, it's the total of melee physical increasement, and attack physical increasement. In this case, as explained above, those three are the same and there's no need to discriminate. There is one thing that you should keep in mind, that the term other increasement here doesn't apply to increased physical damage modifier on weapons. Because increasement on a weapon just increases the base damage locally on that weapon only. Because we also have added damage from rings and amulets, and then that damage on the weapon will contribute to the flat physical damage. Note that if your item says increase global physical damage, it will contribute to other increasements here. You can find such modifier on a type of belt serving as an implicit, or on rings with some crafting method like crafting bench or unveiling. And please tell me if you know further than that. Now, if you would just look at this branch of a tree, if I have one skill point, I have to choose between 10 strength and all that bunch of benefits, including 10% increased physical damage. Pretty generous compared to 2% increased physical damage you would get from 10 strength. So other than item requirement reason, why should an exile pick 10 strength over that big node or any other big node? There are several reasons to consider every time the exile gains a new level and has a skill point to distribute. Reason number 1, you already deal tons of damage and decide for yourself that 5 life from 10 strength is a good trade-off. Reason number 2, you want to get to a node or a jewel socket or a keystone or whatever that can never be achieved without going through that 10 strength node. We just have discussed about damage gain, half of what strength attribute offers you. What about life? Unlike damage, we can obtain life as either a flat number or an increasement on passive skill tree. And you would want to get as much flat life as you can on your items, both from your strength or from direct added life. These two don't negate each other in any way. They don't even share the same affix type. One is prefix, the other one suffix. So get as much strength and flat maximum life as you can on items when your exile character requires such things in order to sustain better. So far that I know about the game, the only item allows you to earn life as an increasement is the Vermilion Ring, serving as an implicit. When you talk about damage gain, since you can only earn damage as an increasement on passive skill tree, your choice is simple. It's only the matter of third grade mathematic comparison between nodes. But in life case, we easily find both flat number and increasement on the skill tree. So what's the deal? This is the deal. I copied this 100% from Path of Exile wiki. That's how you calculate the total life. Don't be frightened by what you see. After we break it down, it won't be that painful to comprehend. This is Earth math. I hated it, but I got it, and so will you. Now I will put on the table what should be firstly explained. Look at the last part all the way to the end of the formula, as you might already know. And in case you don't, we call this symbol product operator. This is basically just multiplication in math. The more life and less life modifiers exist as percentage that we can exchange into fraction and then exchange into a rational number which is always smaller than 1. But why multiply the components by one another instead of adding them together as for the part of increased life and reduced life of the formula? Well, you gotta understand that anything says X% increase life and X% reduce life will increase and reduce the original flat life from sources like skill tree and items. It doesn't care about how your current life looks like. On the other hand, anything says X% more life and X% less life will apply to your current life after all kinds of bonuses. And the explanations for this subtraction and this multiplication are very similar to everything I just said above. Just figure out yourself. Further than that, for a better explanation, I can bring up a very similar case to the more life and less life modifiers case. It's the case of armor-based utility flask. I will explain everything and you will see the similarities. Hypothetically, we have 5000 flat armor from items, auras, and sometimes from passive skill tree, and a total of 200% armor increasement from passive skill tree and auras. That means under the effect of granite flask, we have 5000 plus 1500, all times with 200%, equal to 13k armor. And now if we are also under the effect of basal flask, simultaneously of course, we will have 13k plus 13k times 20% equal to 15k and 600 armor. The 20% more armor modifier here doesn't care about your base armor, which is 6500, but instead interacts with the final result of your total armor, which is 13k. It creates a gap of 2600 here, based off of 13k armor. More to that, you see that the 20% more armor modifier may not be much at the early stage of the character leveling, but it will scale effectively later in the later stage now that your exile has a much bigger stack of armor. And that's how things work. Just notice the difference between more less life armor modifiers and increase-decrease life armor modifiers. On the matter back to life case, beg your pardon, but I cannot find more life modifier elsewhere but from the blood magic keystone. You see, such modifier is kinda hard to come by, so we can ignore it for most part of the game, and the equation now has been simplified and looks like this. Every time you stand in such dilemma of investment between flat life and life increasement, just apply each variation in the equation and go along with the circumstance that gives you the most total life. You can even draw a linear chart if you want to, but it's not necessary at all. But while we're at it, in this chart, increasement plays as the horizontal axis, and flat life plays as the slope. The more vertical the line is, the more significant in gain the total life would be, with even the slightest of change in life increasement. That's the idea. I hope you got a hang of it. Don't forget to tune in for Twitch drop of the upcoming leak. Thanks for watching and see you next time.
It'll be a pleasure doing business with you.